Alright, well, it's time for an update. Okay, I've been putting off this update for a while, just because, I wanted things to be perfect in the new systems before I updated, and, well, there's just really no such thing as perfect, so I decided I'd go ahead and put together an update and keep everybody informed on what's going on. So, you will notice that I am not necessarily looking at a UFO now. So this is just an example ship of the type that um, will be potentially in the game. And this little guy is probably, like an electronic warfare support, that type of ship. Combat support, medic, that type of role. Um, I'm turning the ship with my mouse. It's a little bit sensitive right now, but there is a brand new movement system in the game. I can steer with the mouse like that. I can hold my mouse down and look around. Um, or I can steer, this is using the keyboard, and I can set my heading and the camera will follow. I think we saw that before. So start moving forward, start steering around, and you'll see the camera trying to find its home behind the ship. And I'll zoom out just a little bit. Okay, and let's see, let's target something. There's that thing, there's one. Alright, so you notice how the ship turns to the target. It will attempt to turn to the target as soon as it targets something. So if I change targets here, the ship will try to rotate to the target. One of the cool things that I've added is I can actually rotate the ship now this way. And when I turn to a target, it will try to keep, well, it resets that. So, sorry. I was going to say it tries to keep that target, but it doesn't. I'm resetting it. So when I'm rotated towards a target where I have a target aimed, I can rotate around, and as I navigate, so if I press forward, it's going to press forward with the target to my right here. And I can try to keep the target on my flank. I could try to keep the target up to a corner here. But I can strafe, and it will constantly keep that target in that angle on the ship, or it'll attempt to. So clear this out, and then I'm back to normal navigation. Right. So again, lock it in, rotate, put my side on it, and then I can theoretically drive circles around it, and it will continuously try to maintain that heading. All right. So this guy's got a new gun on him, and it's a little faster. I think it should be kind of fun to shoot here. Let's see how it goes. So now he's no longer in my arc, so I can't fire. If I come around here, fire all through my arc, and now I'm outside the arc. So keep this guy. So doing this battle should be relatively fun. I hope that you'll be able to lock on targets and strafe fire targets, and then switch off, run away, lock on the target again, fire, etc. So that's this guy. Not much else to him right now. He only has one weapon at the moment. He's kind of a small ship, so I haven't really decided what kind of weapon I'm going to put on him. So let's go ahead and move on to another one of the ships. And this is a big tank of a ship. And you'll notice as I start to move around here, it moves a lot slower than the other ship. And as I rotate around, it takes a little while for it to come around. So its response is nowhere near as snappy as the smaller ships. So there's a lot more to move around. This guy's got firing arcs at all kinds of angles here. And so let's go ahead and target this guy. And I don't know if you can notice it, but if you'll look at the back left turret, as I rotate around, that turret is aiming at the firing solution for its target. So fire at that target, and there I hit. He's probably going to move on me. Just starting to get out of range here. So as I move around, this guy's got dead zones. You know, like for example, this he can't fire here. So he's going to be much better off here. He also has some spots where you can actually get 3 going at once. So 3 shots at once might be kind of you know, the optimal location to try to keep your enemy if you're in a winding battle. So, and again, that's an auto gun, and it doesn't have to be held down, but you can. And yeah, so that's the big guy. Oh, and he's got missile launchers that have their own arcs. And so if you look here at the close side of the ship, here I'll turn around this way, you can see 2 of the missile turrets pointing towards us here at the camera. And so if I fire these guys right here, oops, and they miss. So yeah, the missiles, or I should say rockets, these are rocket launchers, they're kind of dumb fire. They try to aim at the target, but you know, they're more fire and forget and forget and forget. So not the smartest of weapons. This ship would probably come with missile launchers as opposed to rocket launchers. And the missile launchers will have heat-seeking or target-seeking capabilities. But these guys are dumb. You fire them off in a direction and they go. So they're also trying to seek their target. And if the target doesn't move, they might have an opportunity to hit it. But this type of weapon's really not going to be the type of thing you use at long distance. This is going to be like, you know, a barrage right up close, get up in the air, and you know, whoa! And even then, I miss. So get in here and try to you know, get a shot in up close, and that's where you're gonna try to do your damage. So let's see. So I got those and those. I don't have a third weapon in right now, but yeah. So that's the ships how they are now. The new navigation system. Let's go ahead and unlock on that target. And the new navigation system is much more, much easier to understand, I think, for the average person to understand. You know, if you played any other game, you've got forward, backward, strafe, left and right, and rotate. And I think it'll play really nicely on a dual analog stick. Although I haven't tried it yet, but I've got the key binding set in so that I can use a dual analog stick if I want to. But yeah, the idea is that it's going to fly a little more naturally as far as what everybody's used to. And you know, the experiments I had early on with it sort of interpretive flying, trying to interpret what your intent was, didn't really work all that well. There's just, you know, too many possible meanings to a given input for interpretation. So it just turned out that as I was flying it, the ship wasn't doing what my brain wanted it to do. So, so around this planet over here, I've got some asteroids. I've got this nice little asteroid belt that's going around this little planet. You can't enter this asteroid field. It's just sort of acts as a barrier to keep you from getting too close to the planet. So if I come down here and get close, it's actually going to stop me and bounce me away. So And you'll notice that this planet is different, and it's not necessarily an improvement over the last one. So, yeah, I ran into something tonight. It kind of slowed me down. I was switching the Unity player over to linear color space. And when I did that, the asset that I was using that had generated my planets decided to completely freeze up and lose all sense of sanity. Um, the textures just wouldn't render. I had big purple balls floating in space, so I had to, fall back to some more primitive textures. Um, and well, that's not, it's just stand-in for now anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. I'll come up with some nice looking textures for whatever planets I end up using anyways. So, it is what it is, and sometimes you have little setbacks like that. But yeah, I'll get over it. Then last but not least, you may have noticed that we are in a more uh, a brighter area. It's not as dark as it has been in the past. So I'm using another skybox, and I've highly modified it to give it a more artistic look, sort of an oil painting slash Van Gogh kind of feel to it. Um, I think the stylized aspect of it makes up for a little bit of the lower resolution that it might have been to begin with. But one of the things I was able to do with this, which I'm really happy with, is you may have noticed that the giant ball of gases are no longer there, and it's a uh, much larger planet going on over here. So where previously the gas giant that was there was actually a sphere in the game, and it was set off in the distance, and it was made super big. But with floating point and precision the way it is, I just couldn't ever get it to the size I wanted, the resolution that I wanted, and have that just really overwhelming sense of presence that I really wanted for it. So what I'm doing instead now is I've put the this planet texture in the skybox itself. So that allows me to make it much larger and take up much more space, and I'm pretty happy with it. Um, the same thing for my two target planets, or the home planets. So you'll see the one here on the right. That's one of the home worlds. And then the one on the left here, it's another one of the home worlds. And they're much larger than they used to be. And I think they're really give a sense of presence, as far as that the home world is passing through this plane and it's nearby, and this gives them the opportunity to reach out and start gathering resources from nearby sources. So pretty pleased with that. And I've moved the location of the sun slightly so that I can match up all of the shadowing. So that shadowing is not dynamic. I mean, it's in the skybox. Um, oh yeah, and little thing here, we had the texture originally here, which was just a round disc. I've swapped that out with another one of my mesh generator scripts that, in fact, it's the same code that generates my firing arcs that you see here on the ship. And it's just generating a 360-degree arc instead of a flat disc. So I kind of like the effect of having, um, sort of a colored border around the spawn area. I think that's a little bit nicer, I think. Um, but yeah, nothing's really changed over in the asteroids. Over here, I have gotten some new asteroid assets that I may put into the array of asteroids that can spawn. But we'll see. Definitely want some more variety. Super excited about what's happening in Unity with 2018.1. Really looking forward to using that. I think the combination of the entity component system that they've got there and the more efficient coroutines, I look forward to see what kind of thresholds I can push as far as animation and interactivity with these asteroids. Like right now, they are relatively simple when it comes to their hitboxes. So if I go over here, you'll find times that um, they hit a hitbox that is out near the edge. It doesn't quite match up, although it does reasonably well. But um, just sometimes you'll get close and you'll actually go into the asteroid as opposed to stay on the outside of the asteroid. I think if with all the power that's coming in Unity 2018.1, I think I'm going to really have some fun with pushing the limitations on what we can put out there. And I'm nowhere near it now. I may be at the limitations of my own efficiency as far as code efficiency, but certainly not at the limitations yet of what Unity can do. But I'm really excited about what's coming. And if you haven't looked into 2018.1, I highly recommend it. Um, I feel like a kid in a candy store, getting ready for the Candyman to come, or it's Christmas Eve practically. So looking forward to next month when they release that. So yeah, that's the update for today, and thanks as always. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.